the Chinese families, when they come to visit family in London, they introduce the our duck in the restaurants in Chinatown, and when they go back home they just talk about the London duck, which is Silver Hill. So we are now trading in Singapore, Hong Kong, Malaysia, and we're trading as our own name as the Silver Hill duck.
Hello and welcome to the Poultry Edge with me, Rebecca Tierney. We're focusing on all the latest news, information and advice for Irish poultry producers. In this episode, we'll take a look at the Irish duck sector. I'm delighted to be joined by Peter McConnell, Technical Farm Manager with Silver Hill Duck. Silver Hill is the largest duck processor in Ireland and has a worldwide name for a brilliant Irish product. Thanks for joining us today, Peter. To start, could you just give us a quick overview of the duck sector? How many ducks are we producing here in Ireland annually?
We're producing about 85,000 ducks a week here in Ireland. There is two smaller producers in the island of Ireland also, and they're producing a few hundred. So we are the only major duck producer in Ireland at present.
And in terms of the chain of production for ducks, you might just run through from your breeding flock to ducks being ready for process and them reaching our shop shelves and further afield. How long is the incubation period and how many days is it taking to grow those ducks to the desired weight for you guys?
Well, Silver Hill is an integrated company, so we sort of hatch, match and dispatch all the birds that we produce here. So what comes first, the duck or the egg? If we start maybe with the hatchery, so it takes 28 days to hatch a duck egg from you set it for incubation until it hatches out as a baby duckling. Once those ducks are hatched out, they can go two ways. Our breeder ducks, ducklings go onto the farm and they're reared until 21 weeks of age. Then at 21 weeks of age, they get transferred to the breeding farms, where they spend a further 45 weeks of their life in lay, up to a year, possibly, depending on demand at the time. So that's the sort of the breeding cycle. And then the other day olds that we're producing goes on straight on to the commercial farms for our commercial production.
Perfect. And it's 42 days roughly, am I right in that, Peter?
So if we're talking about the commercial birds, the commercial birds will start off at day old, and we rear them to a target live weight of about 3.5 kilos, in between 3.5 and 3.6 kgs is our sweet spot. The majority of those birds we're looking for is for a head-on market. So when we process them, we don't remove the head. It's mainly the Chinese market that requires that line of duck. And you're saying there about the incubation period. The incubation period of the duck eggs is 28 days.
So you mentioned the Chinese market there. The duck is primarily an export market with that volume of duck. Where is Silver Hill exporting to? And how did all those markets come about? I assume there's quite a bit of work and communication to develop those markets.
Primarily, it started whenever the company started back in 1962. And the main export market at that time was London, Chinatown in London, and very much is to this day. It is a key market in all our markets, and but all the other markets have really grown out of that London market. And that's when I say the other markets, I'm talking about the Middle East, Far East, Singapore, Hong Kong, and of recent times more like Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, but in the Far East, it's referred to as London duck. And the reason it's referred to as London duck is the Chinese families, when they come to visit family in London, they're introduced to our duck in the restaurants in Chinatown. And when they go back home, they just talk about the London duck, which is Silver Hill. So we are now trading in, as I say, Singapore, Hong Kong, Malaysia, and we're trading as our own name as the Silver Hill duck.
Fantastic. It's great to see an Irish product doing so well globally.
Yeah, great success. It's been a wonderful success. It's a niche product, and we're very, very, very fortunate that we're the only ones that are producing our brand of duck.
Yeah, it's to do with the breeding, Peter, from when it was started by the Steele family all those years ago. It's that fattier layer gives it a much more tender
Yeah,
taste.
I suppose if you take it back, as I say, to the early 60s, there was fat was maybe a bad word at that stage, but the Chinese very much appreciate the it takes the fat on the bird to create the crispy skin. And one of our signature dishes is the crispy roast duckling, and the fat on the bird allows the roasting process for that fat to cook out and leave the skin as a crispy product, which is ultimately very, very tasty. And that's where our main selling point is on our bird, is the taste.
Yes, most definitely. I've had the pleasure of experiencing it. It's a fantastic product. Sustainability is massively popular now in the industry and all industries. How is Silver Hill looking at sustainability within your business?
Yeah, well, Silver Hill is a member of Origin Green, and we hold the gold membership now since 2023, and each year thereafter. We're always targeting to reduce our waste, energy being or reduce the waste from our packaging. So our members are repack, and all that excess packaging that comes in through the business goes to it. Also, reducing energy is a big is one of our main targets. So we installed a solar array farm in May 2025, and it's 820 kilowatts, which works out about 20% of our energy bill. So that's a big saving and a big win from an energy point of view. The only other one of the other things that we're doing is drip irrigation, and it's basically we are distributing our treated process water through a network of pipes in the local fields that we own around the farm here, and that means that we don't distribute any water into the local water source at all now. It's all goes through a filter bed system.
Fantastic. Silver Hill also have a very unique way of handling the feathers as well. They're even
Yes.
utilised.
Yeah, we have our own feather washing and drying plant here. So when the birds is processed, all the feathers that comes off the bird all goes through the feather plant. The feathers is washed, dried, and sorted. So the main products that we get off that is the feather and down. So feather and down goes into pillows. The down itself goes mainly into duvets and clothing like ski jackets and that sort of thing. But yes, it's a big leg to the business. Is the feather plant? Yeah.
Certainly, and it's tackling all that additional product coming from the farm. So in
Yeah.
general, Peter, we're seeing the poultry sector is expanding, whether it be broilers or eggs. Is that the case for ducks? Are you seeing an expansion there, and is there a requirement for more ducks on the ground?
Traditionally, we've just been a sort of restaurant trade up until COVID. Once COVID hit and restaurants closed, we come across a real roadblock. Where do you go? So just whenever COVID hit, we put vans on the road, and we started distributing to all the local butchers throughout sort of north of Dublin to the north coast, and that has been very successful for us, and that market has sustained since COVID. So we are expanding on that. Also, food service through different partners here in Ireland, different food service partners selling into restaurants. But it has been a great growth in the last 3 or 4 years.
Brilliant. So some positive out of COVID there for the business.
Very, very, very much so. Yeah. But fortunately, all our export markets have opened up since that and have grown exponentially.
Are you guys looking for more growers? Is there a need for additional housing out there for ducks, or are you guys meeting the demand as it is?
Yes, currently we're building a new processing plant here on the site in Emmyvale, which is due to open, all being well, Christmas 2027. And that's going to take us from our current 85,000 ducks a week to over 100,000 ducks a week. And as time goes on, hopefully the markets will grow to take us up to about 120,000. So naturally enough, for that sort of expansion, we're going to need more growing space and breeding and rearing space over time. We have two new sheds coming on stream this year in preparation for that, but that's only going to be 2 out of about 7 or 8 that we're going to need before 2027. So yes, to answer the question, we are looking for more growing space next year and the year beyond. And the biggest challenge with that is environmental planning permission to get the sheds in an area that is fit to handle all the manure that comes from the birds, from the process. And just part of that, like we sell our we don't sell it. The manure goes to farms and RD who produces the grain that then goes to our mill, and then we feed the grain back to the ducks again. So we have a good circular economy going on there from a sustainability point of view.
Yeah, that's certainly a fantastic circular economy, and I think it's really important as an industry that we target that, considering we are high users of grain. Excellent to see, and really positive to see such a growth in the poultry sector and the duck sector for Silver Hill particularly. Peter, thank you for taking the time to join us today.
Okay, you're very welcome.
That's all for today's podcast. Thanks for listening, and don't forget to rate, review and follow the Poultry Edge wherever you get your podcasts.